So picture this, you're at your desk with a project to run. Maybe you're launching a product, planning an event, or just trying to get your team on the same page for a quarterly goal. You open Teams to check the conversation, then switch to Outlook to find that one email chain about deadlines. Next, you're in OneNote hunting for notes from last week's meeting, and somewhere in Planner or To-Do, there's a task list you're supposed to update. Sound familiar? This is the reality of working in Microsoft 365. It's a powerful platform, no question, but the information you need is scattered across a dozen apps. Your notes live in OneNote, your files sit in SharePoint, your tasks are in Planner, and your conversations are buried in Teams chat. Every time you switch between them, you lose focus, you lose time, you lose the thread of what you're trying to do. And the old way of working just makes it worse. You create a file, attach it to an email, someone edits it, saves a new version, emails it back. Pretty soon you've got 5 different versions and nobody's sure which one is current. Exhausting. But what if you could have a single place where everything lives together, where your notes, tasks, files, and conversations all exist in one spot, update in real time, and follow you across apps? That's the problem Microsoft Loop Workspaces were built to solve. What exactly is a Loop Workspace? Let's start with a simple definition. A Loop Workspace is a digital project room. That's the easiest way to think about it. Imagine you're working on a real project in a physical office. You'd have a meeting room dedicated to that work, whiteboards on the wall with ideas scribbled everywhere, printouts of key documents pinned up, and a to-do list taped to the door. Everyone on that project knows exactly where to go to see the latest status. A Loop Workspace is that room, but digital. It's a dedicated space for a team, a project, or even a recurring workflow. Everything related to that work lives inside it. The notes, the tasks, the files, the decisions. You open the workspace and you can see it all at a glance. No digging through tabs, no searching your email for that one message from 3 weeks ago. Now here's the important distinction. A Teams channel is focused on chat. A SharePoint site is focused on documents. A Loop Workspace is different. It's a flexible canvas. You can write notes, add tables, track tasks, embed files, and have conversations right there alongside the content. It's not a replacement for Teams or SharePoint. Think of it more like a hub that connects them. Every workspace gets its own name, cover image, and set of members. You know exactly which project you're working on and who else is in the room with you. Simple stuff, but it makes a big difference when you're juggling multiple projects. The 3 building blocks. So let's look under the hood at how Loop is actually built. It works on 3 levels, and once you understand them, the whole thing clicks. First up are workspaces. Think of this as the top-level room we just talked about. You get one workspace per project, team, or initiative. It's the container that holds everything together. Nothing lives outside of it unless you want it to. Inside that workspace, you have pages. These are the surfaces where you actually write and organize your content. Imagine the individual whiteboards inside your project room. You might have one page for meeting notes, another for your project plan, a third for brainstorming ideas. Each page is fully editable. You can add text, tables, task lists, images, whatever you need, and it all stays inside that workspace. You can also create subpages. These let you drill into a specific topic without cluttering the main page. So when your project plan page gets too detailed, you spin off a subpage for the budget, another for the timeline, and everything stays organized. Now here's where Loop really changes things. Components. These are portable blocks of content that can live outside the workspace entirely. Take a task list from your Loop page, turn it into a component, and paste it into a Teams chat or an Outlook email. That component keeps a live connection to the original. Change it in the chat and it updates on the page. Change it on the page and it updates in the email. Everyone sees the same information always. This hierarchy keeps Loop flexible without feeling messy. Workspaces contain everything. Pages give you room to work, and components let that work travel wherever it needs to go. Creating a workspace inside Teams. So how do you actually get started? The easiest way is to create a workspace directly inside a Teams channel. Go to any channel in Teams, click the plus icon to add a tab, and search for Loop. Give your workspace a name. Something recognizable like Project Alpha, Marketing Launch. Add a cover photo from the stock library, pick an emoji to give it some personality, and hit create. That's it, you just created your first Teams connected workspace. Here's what makes this nice. Everyone in that channel gets automatic access. No need to send invitations or manage permissions separately. Membership follows the channel. Someone joins the channel, they see the workspace, they leave, access is removed, clean and simple. Once the workspace is created, you can open it right there in the tab. For the full feature set though, open it in the Loop app or a web browser. That gives you access to the full page list, version history, and meeting notes area. The Workspace tab becomes a living hub for that channel. Instead of having conversations in chat and documents in SharePoint and tasks in Planner, the team has one place to go. Everyone knows where to find the latest plan, the current status, and the decisions made. That's the real power. No more hunting across 6 different apps. Collaboration and mentions. Once your workspace is set up, collaboration gets a lot more natural. And one of the simplest ways to start is with mentions. Tag any team member using the @ symbol, just like in Teams or Outlook. Type @tar, start typing their name, and select them. That person gets a notification in Loop plus an email with the page embedded as a live component. so they see the context, read what's been written, and respond without navigating anywhere. If they don't have access yet, a plus icon appears next to their name. One click grants access without needing to request separate permissions. Comments work the same way. Select any block of text, add a comment, and have a conversation right next to the content, not in a separate chat or email. You can see who else is editing in real time. Their cursor shows up with their name. Watch them add a task, update a status, or fix a typo as it happens. This is the key difference from older tools. Conversations stay tied to the work, not scattered across apps. You don't switch between apps to figure out who said what. Everything lives in the same space. Tasks that sync with Planner and To Do. Now for one of Loop's most powerful features, tasks that follow your team wherever they work. Inside any page, add a task list component by typing a / and searching for task list. It drops in a table with columns for task name, assignee, due date, and bucket. Each bucket is just a category like To Do, In Progress, or This Week. Here's the thing. Assign a task to someone and it automatically appears in their Microsoft To Do right in their personal task list alongside their grocery list and reminders. They don't need to open Loop to see what's assigned. It shows up where they already manage tasks, but it doesn't stop there. That same task syncs to Microsoft Planner, so your project manager can open Planner and see the full board, calendar, or chart view of everything the team is working on. Mark a task complete in Loop and it updates in To Do and Planner instantly. Mark it done in To Do and it's checked off in Loop. No more copying tasks between apps or asking, "Did you see my email about the deadline?" The task is there, assigned, dated, and tracked. It turns Loop into a lightweight project management tool without needing to teach anyone a complex new system. Meeting notes and agendas. Let's talk about meetings. More specifically, what happens before, during, and after them. When you create a Teams meeting, you'll see an option to add an agenda. Click that, and a Loop component goes right into the meeting invite. Before the meeting, you and your team can add topics, assign presenters with add mentions, and set time estimates. Everyone sees the same agenda, and anyone can edit it. Here's where it gets useful. During the meeting, you take notes directly in that same component. No need to open a separate app or ask someone to share their screen. The agenda is right there. And as you work through each item, you add notes, decisions, and action items. Everyone in the meeting can edit at the same time. After the meeting, those action items are already in the task list, assigned to the right people with due dates. No one has to type up notes and send them out later because the notes are already shared and the tasks are already assigned. They sync with Planner and To Do, just like we covered earlier. There's also a dedicated meeting notes area in the Loop app where all your meeting notes show up automatically. For recurring meetings, the structure stays the same week after week. No starting from scratch every time. When to use Loop versus other tools. Now, Loop isn't right for everything. Let's talk about when it makes sense and when you should stick with something else. Loop works best for informal collaboration, brainstorming, and lightweight project management. It's great for fast-moving work where things change day to day, like a project kickoff, a campaign planning session, or a weekly stand-up tracker. That's where Loop shines. OneNote is better for permanent personal notebooks. If you need offline access or want to draw freehand with a stylus, OneNote is still the right tool. Think of it as your personal digital binder. SharePoint is better for formal document libraries where you need strict version control, complex permissions, or long-term archiving. SharePoint handles that, and Loop doesn't replace those capabilities. And Loop components are not replacements for co-authoring in Word or Excel. If you're writing a formal report or building a financial model, use the real Office apps. Loop is for the notes, tasks, and quick tables that surround that work. Think of Loop as the glue. It brings together all the short-lived, fast-moving pieces that normally get scattered across different tools. For regulated content or long-term archives, stick with the traditional tools. But for everything else, the daily collaboration that actually moves work forward, Loop is worth a serious look. Let's wrap it up. Loop Workspaces solves a simple problem. Your notes, tasks, and conversations don't have to live in separate places anymore. They can all sit together in one shared space. Try adding a Loop tab to a single channel and see how it changes things. Subscribe for more plain English explainers like this one.